Hey, what is up guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today's video will be my final one covering BlizzCon 2017. We'll be talking about the Heart of Azeroth, the unfortunate PvP updates, and new Warfronts coming with Battle for Azeroth, and lastly the social features coming to World of Warcraft. I wanted to make a separate video for each of these topics individually, but instead I decided to lump these three together into a single video altogether. If you haven't already, be sure to check out my other BlizzCon coverage videos, linked in the card as well as the description down below. And remember to leave a like if you liked the video and to get subscribed if you want to see more videos like this, as well as guides such as for mounts and pets in World of Warcraft. I have a guide coming up for the Rat Stallion mount, so be sure to subscribe and hit that little bell so you're notified as soon as the video goes up. Anyway, that said, let's jump into it. First up is Azerite, as well as the Heart of Azeroth. Given Sargeras has jammed his sword in and poked a big hole in Azeroth, she's now bleeding. Her blood is what we'll know as Azerite. This stuff is similar to the blood of Sargeras and Sargerite. Very powerful. Our characters as well as the whole of the Alliance and the Horde will want to get their hands on as much of this stuff as they possibly can. When talked about, this stuff is essentially described exactly the same way as the artifact power from Legion. Except its power, instead of going to some fabled holy stick of righteous healing or what have you, is going to an item known as the Heart of Azeroth. More on that next. It wasn't explicitly mentioned, but this stuff sounds an awful lot like it may also double as an equivalent to Blood of Sargeras or Sargerite. This is more just speculation on my part, but it is something to keep in mind. So, the Heart of Azeroth. What is that? And what is to become of our current artifact weapons? Well, for the weapons, we're losing those. I think we all saw this coming, but those are going to be going away in the expansion. As for the Heart of Azeroth, well, Magni has seen the destruction of Azeroth, both in the damage done to the planet itself, as well as the chaos the world has plunged into with war. He will come to request your help as the player with an item called the Heart of Azeroth. This item, a new Titan artifact, will be worn on the neck. Whenever you gain Azerite through one method or another, the Heart of Azeroth will absorb and consume a small portion of the power contained in what you gathered. Another source of Azerite, perhaps the intended primary source as well as most repeatable source, is Island Expeditions. I've already made a video talking about these, so if you'd like to hear more about those, go ahead and check out the video in the card or in the description down below. As your Heart of Azeroth gains Azerite, it will increase in power and level. As it does, certain pieces of gear you may acquire while leveling or while at level 120 will take advantage of the power coming from your Heart of Azeroth. You'll find different types of artifact equipment, such as what's shown here are a helmet, some shoulders, and a chest piece, which all have powers derived from the level of your medallion. When you have one of these pieces of equipment, you'll be able to open an interface for that specific item, such as the one shown here. When you are in this interface, you'll notice there are several rings. In each ring you'll be able to pick from one of several powers to benefit your character. The further out from the center these powers are, the lower level they require to obtain, and the closer to the center they are, the higher level they require to obtain. As your Heart of Azeroth levels, it will awaken these rings in any artifact equipment you have equipped. A concern they addressed was that certain talents and customizations of characters were homogenized and less unique to you. They suggested that you may find powers in your gear which cause you to rethink using certain talents. They addressed two other fair concerns as well. First is that when you switch artifact equipment, you don't lose any kind of progression you've made thus far, because the progress is stored in the Heart of Azeroth. The second is whether the items were driven by RNG. Now, according to Russell, each and every item has a unique and handcrafted layout of powers in the rings. The only differing factor is the difficulty at which you obtain the items, as shown here. Of course, mythic versions of normal gear will be better, that's just how it works. Harder work means bigger payoff. Also coming in Battle for Azeroth, the unfortunate news exists that PvP servers will no longer be considered PvP servers. Current normal servers will remain normal, PvP servers will become normal, RP servers as well as RP PvP servers will both simply just become RP servers. Somewhat fortunately taking the place of the PvP server classification, however, will be a change in how players are flagged for PvP. Rather than how it has been where you just type /PvP and wait 5 minutes for your flag to go away, it's now toggled in your faction capital. Any player can go to their capital and talk to an NPC to enable or disable essentially being on a PvP server. In addition to this, bonuses will be given for things like experience and reputation gain for players who use the PvP feature. This is to encourage some players to take that risk and not just have everyone playing PvE. Also coming in Battle for Azeroth, there will be two new arenas, one in Tirgar Sound in Kultiris as well as one in Zuldazar in Zandalar. These will be themed, of course, around the surrounding environments and will mesh well with the experience you expect in those zones. In addition to these new arenas, a new battleground will be added to the game, Seething Shore. Just on the shore of Silithus, the zone where Sargeras has stabbed Azeroth and she will be bleeding the most, we have the Seething Shore. Alliance and Horde will want to fight each other for the Azerite found in the battleground. This will have dynamic control points. It was compared to a Arathi Basin with multiple flag locations and without you necessarily knowing which flags you are going to get, so you have to adapt to the current map. As shown in this map, each of the crystal nodes can be a possible spawn for an Azerite effusion. Up to 3 effusions can be active at any one time. While fighting for these effusions, some may dissipate and some new ones may pop up, and each faction will have to decide on how to handle this. How many people to send and how many people to keep behind for the defense of existing effusions. Seething Shore will be available in patch 7.3.5, as this will be part of the whole process for the Battle for Azeroth pre-patch cycle. So how about Warfronts? Warfronts are large-scale battles taking place between the Alliance and the Horde in already existing warfronts throughout Azeroth. These will be based out of Warcraft's real-time strategy routes. The Warfronts will be 20 players versus NPC armies. Going off the description for this, I really wish this was player versus player as well as the player versus NPCs it has been described as, but I don't think that's going to happen. While you are playing and fighting enemy forces, you will be gathering resources, building structures, creating military units, and upgrading said structures or upgrading said military units. Upon arriving at your warfront, you're going to want to establish a base. These buildings and units are essentially the same as what we see in Warcraft 3. Alliance will want to build a town hall and the Horde will want to build a great hall. After which you're going to both gather resources and take territory from your opposing faction. You'll gather, for instance, iron, gold, and lumber for these buildings and units. You'll be able to build buildings similar to how they were in Warcraft 3 as I mentioned earlier. Matt said that they wanted to keep as close as they could to the original tech trees used in that game. With these units you'll create, you'll want to take them to battle, lead them to the fight to defeat the opposing faction. Furthermore, there will be different things to make encounters in the Warfronts feel unique. There will be different commanders you can use for your faction, such as for instance a human commander who has upgraded knights and footmen that he sends more frequently than other units. Or a dwarf commander which has upgraded riflemen as well as a unique unit that other commanders don't have, the Dwarven Mortar team. So far the only warfront shown is Stromgarde in Arathi Highlands. Next up are the social features coming to World of Warcraft. The first part of this is the Battle.net voice integration. For a while now, World of Warcraft's voice chat system has, well, it's not been the most elegant solution in the world. All this while you can have perfectly fine voice chat in Overwatch as well as even in the Battle.net client even while World of Warcraft is running. In the future, Battle.net voice will be integrated into World of Warcraft. Not only will we have the high quality voice communications from that, but it will also have the ability to show you who's talking in the game itself, rather than you having to check another application or client to see who is talking at a given time. Next up are communities. And oh boy is this an exciting feature to be coming to the game in my opinion. In a nutshell, they are a guild and everything that comes with a guild except cross-realm, and you can be in more than one community as well as be in a guild. The biggest difference, at least from what I've seen, is that the communities will not have any kind of in-game representation such as like a guild tabard or something of that sort, as well as banking. You know, given you can't trade across servers. Communities will have rosters and a simple role management system similar to guilds. It will also have support for quick join as guilds currently do. There are new features that the communities will be getting that guilds currently do not have. The good thing though is that the guilds will also be getting these new features. The first feature is voice integration. With this, you can hop into a voice chat with your community or your guild by the click of a button. I assume you can join specific channels with voice chat as well, since this will also be supporting the Battle.net groups. As shown now, the guild window is getting an overhaul to integrate with the new communities feature, and will reflect these new changes. The second feature is auto-maintained calendar invites. What this means is, if an invite has been sent to the whole guild or community, that player will receive that invite automatically. And if a player is removed from the guild, whether by will or by force, they will lose the invitation to the event. The third feature is text chat history. What this means basically is that when you log onto the game after however long, you'll be able to view the chat history for whatever guild or community you're in, including while you are offline. Again shown now in the video is the overhauled guild and communities window. And with that, I wrap up my coverage for BlizzCon 2017. Thanks for watching and I hope you enjoy the new information. Be sure to leave a like if you liked the video and get subscribed if you want to keep up with my future videos, such as the guide for Rat Stallion I mentioned earlier that I have coming up. I do hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. Be sure to leave a comment letting me know what you thought of the video and whether or not you're excited for the upcoming changes to World of Warcraft, especially Battle for Azeroth. I'm always excited to hear what you have to say or share. That being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day and I'll see you next time.